flowers were for it. Whereas some are just coming into bloom right now. And so that was the idea behind designing the rose garden as it is that each bed would provide blooms at different times. And then of course at this time of year we have just about everything blooming at the same time, which is fabulous because it creates a whole lot of color. Like this one, the Flamingo Colorscape. It's quite beautiful red. This garden has over 3,500 rose plants. So there's always going to be color right up until October, right up until probably around the first frost. And then it goes into dormancy. Jan said, do you have a Facebook page where we can post postcards? Thank you. We have a beautiful West Coast inspired volunteer probably could help. Really, it's just a matter of me sitting down and getting it done. Joyce is with some beautiful echinacea behind us here, mixed in with grasses and vines, and of course the beautiful climbing roses. Here we have our cacti garden with its chickens and hens, and some of them are actually not in bloom yet. And this was here to commemorate the occasion of the Vancouver Pioneers Association centenary. And it was dedicated to the Vancouver Pioneers. How was it? Lori's asked, really beautiful month. I don't know. The roses probably won't be in bloom. There will be some flower plants that will go into October, a little hardier. And we have plants growing as floral displays all year long, as ornamental gardens, which is really kind of interesting. They're really unique. And we are in the Rose Garden in Stanley Park in Vancouver, British Columbia. Just want to give you a little bit of a view of the arbor. Now this probably would have been much more vibrant about a month ago. But again, we are getting to the end of the season. We're into September now, but it is still absolutely stunning. And so because we don't get the kind of freezing, we are able to keep plants alive throughout the winter. It's a really unique area. Not only are we able to have plants grow a long time, we can have some plants that you wouldn't find normally in other parts of Canada. Like we have cacti here, which is really kind of interesting. And we have palm trees as well, which are kind of interesting. White bleeding heart. And put that in her garden in Ottawa, and it was there until, well, we sold the house after her passing. Okay. You can see it's a really busy day here in Vancouver, in the gardens. So I'm just going to point out we have some beautiful lavender. Oh my God, this smells so good. And then my favorite right beside it, does anybody know what this is? It smells like baby powder. Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, tell Lynn I'm very sorry and that I hope she's able to head back up the street that we just came from into the Shakepeare garden. British Columbia. And probably also in Washington near Seattle. And most of the ones that we've probably seen on the tours have been quite small. But this one is is quite massive, and I just want to show you what the size of these trees can get to. There are benches there for a little bit of perspective. Hi, Mary Lou, Ronnie Lynn, Jen. We're in Stanley Park in Vancouver, British Columbia, and I just wanted to point out one of our ancient cedars that we have here in the park, and just how large these trees can get. And these were, yes, it is massive, and it's actually not even one of the largest ones. It does smell incredible. You can see this one. Here's what's interesting about this tree. It's not one tree, but two. So you can see how it's cut at the top there. The lower part of the tree, do we know how old? No, we don't. The lower part of the tree, and I'm just going to move so we can get a better view with the lighting. You can see there, that's actually a stump. So the original tree had been cut down, and the tree that you see here with the lovely sideways branches grew out of the stump. So quite often when cedars go down, they leave them where they are because they become, you can actually see the roots coming out just up here. They become nurse trees. Yes, Robin, it happens in the Olympic forest as well. So this is actually two trees in one. So a new tree growing from the stump of a purple echinacea as part of the garden, including carvings, canoes, dugout canoes by First Nations. The branches themselves and the leaves were used for ailments like coughs and colds and rheumatism. And the bark was used, it strips off in these long strips, and so the bark was used for creating mats and blankets and hats and weaving them into baskets. The roots themselves were used for baskets. So there. Heidi says, according to the web, the oldest tree in Stanley Park is about 1,000 years old. Yes, that's not it. Maybe one of these days I will take you to it. I'm just gonna incorporate not only annual plants and perennial plants. They also include some native plants like the fern that provides a little bit of a darker backdrop to the lighter one behind it. Yeah. And it is the Shakepeare garden. Now the Shakepeare garden isn't necessarily flowers. It's an arbor. Or an arbor. Let me this place up. I'm going to see if I can get that plane for you. If anybody. Aha. I think we may have found it. Yeah, we're moving away from the flowers. Yes, we have found it. We are in the arboretum now. And here we have a memorial to the great bard Shakepeare. Arboretum. Yes, Becky. Oak in front of us, as you can see. And it does have a plaque, the red oak, with the quote, "The worthy fellow is our general. He is the rock, the oak, not the wind shaken." And that is from Coriolanus, verse 2, 116, line 116. Isn't that interesting? By actually putting these plaques on them, and at the same time introducing people to to Shakespeare and some of his quotes.